All right, this is it, the grand finale. We are going to the very end of the road, tackling a 3,000-year-old philosophy that acts like a grand unified theory, not for physics, but for consciousness itself.
So, get this. Imagine spending your entire life studying a massive 10,000-page manual on how to reach some ultimate cosmic destination, only for the very last page to tell you the entire journey was an illusion. You are already there from the start. This, right here, is the shocking, mind-bending twist at the heart of a philosophy called Vedanta. Its name, it literally means the end of knowledge.
And the name really tells you everything. You've got Veda, which means knowledge, and Anta, which means the end. It's the final chapter. See, for thousands of years, the spiritual path was all about rituals, actions, about doing things to get somewhere. But Vedanta comes along and makes this radical shift. It says, hey, stop doing. It's time to start knowing.
And look, this wasn't just some minor update. This was a full-blown philosophical earthquake. The entire spiritual quest got reframed. It was no longer about earning something, but about realizing something that was already true. Let me give you a simple analogy to make it stick.
Okay, so picture the entire body of the Vedas as a giant fruit tree. The early parts, all the rituals and chants, that's the karma kanda. They're like the leaves in the flowers. They're gorgeous, they're totally essential for the tree to live and grow, but they aren't the point. The whole point of the tree is the fruit. Vedanta is that ripe fruit. It's the final wisdom, the absolute essence. And once you have the fruit, well, you don't need to go back and eat the leaves. The old path, the path of doing, was all about performing rituals to get temporary rewards, like a good harvest or a spot in some temporary heaven. You can think of it like a salary. It's great, it's useful, but you have to keep showing up to work to earn it. The new path, the path of knowing, is totally different. It's about a single piece of knowledge that grants you permanent freedom. This isn't your salary anymore. This is your net worth. It's what you are, not what you earn.
But here's the cool part. Vedanta isn't some single, rigid doctrine handed down from on high. It's actually a vibrant 3,000-year-old debate, a huge argument between philosophical giants over the fundamental nature of reality itself. And it really boils down to three main schools of thought.
First up, we've got the most radical one, Advaita, which means non-dualism. The philosopher Shankara argued that ultimately there's only one single indivisible reality, called Brahman. Everything else is basically an illusion. There is zero separation. You are not a tiny drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean.
It's like a wave rising up from the sea. For a moment, it has a name, it has a form. It might even think it's this separate, individual thing. But its true nature has always been, and will always be, the ocean itself. That individual wave, it was just a temporary appearance, a fleeting thought.
Now, not everyone was on board with that radical idea. So the philosopher Ramanuja came along and offered a kind of middle path. It's called qualified non-dualism. He argued that, no, your individual soul and the world, they are real. They're not illusions. They're distinct, but they are forever connected to and totally dependent on that ultimate reality.
The best way to think about this one is to imagine yourself as a single cell inside a vast cosmic body. That cell is a real, living, distinct thing. But it has absolutely no meaning, no existence, separate from the body that it's a part of. You are distinct, yes, but you are completely inseparable.
And finally, we have the third major school, Dvaita, or dualism. This one, founded by Madhva, is probably the most straightforward. It says, you and God are, and always will be, two totally separate and different realities, period. There's no merging, no becoming one, there's only a relationship, like a master and a servant.
The analogy here is perfect. Think of the sun and its reflection in a mirror. That reflection is completely dependent on the sun, right? It gets all of its light and its being from the sun, but it will never, ever be the sun. In this view, you are the reflection, and that ultimate reality is the source, eternally different.
So we've got this ancient, super deep debate about the nature of reality. But what in the world does any of this have to do with us today? Well, this is where things get really wild. Let me introduce you to one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, Erwin Schrödinger.
Schrödinger was completely fascinated by Vedanta, and it led him to this incredible, mind-blowing conclusion. Just listen to what he's saying here. Despite the billions of individual people we see walking around, consciousness itself might be a singular thing, a singular it,
that just appears in billions of different places. I mean, that is a profoundly Vedantic idea coming straight from a Nobel Prize-winning physicist.
You see, Schrödinger and his colleagues were facing a huge puzzle. Their own mathematics, their own science, showed that at the most fundamental level, the universe is just a single, interconnected web of energy. There are no separate things at all. So why? Why do we feel so profoundly separate? Why do I feel like me over here, and you feel like you over there?
And where did Schrödinger find his answer? Not in a physics lab. He found it in these 3,000-year-old texts from India. And the answer is this: our feeling of being separate isn't real. It's a convincing, but ultimately it's a false projection of the mind. And there's a famous analogy to explain it.
Imagine you're walking down a path at dusk, and you see what looks like a coiled snake. Your heart starts pounding, the fear is 100% real. But then you shine a flashlight on it, and you realize, oh, it's just an old piece of rope. So here's the question. Was the snake ever really there? No. It was just a misperception, a projection of your mind onto the rope. Vedanta says our separate self, our suffering, this entire world of division, that's the snake. The light of knowledge reveals it was only ever the rope of reality all along.
And this brings us right here to the final, staggering conclusion of this entire journey. We've gone from rituals to knowledge, all the way to the bleeding edge of modern physics, and it all points to one single place. The ultimate claim of Vedanta is that it's the end of the road. It's the end of the search. Because once this knowledge is truly understood, not just as an idea in your head, but as a lived reality, the seeking just stops. There's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to find. There's only the realization of what you have always been.
And it's all captured in 3 simple, earth-shattering words: Tat Twam Asi. You are that. You, right now, in your deepest, most fundamental essence, you are identical to the ultimate, singular reality of the entire cosmos. That divinity you were praying to, that destination you were searching for, it's you. It was always you. You're not a creature in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself.
And the reason this idea has had such incredible staying power for millennia is because it's not presented as some local belief system. It's framed as a universal science of consciousness, a fundamental truth that's just as available to an ancient mystic in a cave as it is to a quantum physicist in a lab. You know, we started this whole journey looking out at the cosmos, searching for the breath of the eternal. And now, here at the very end, we find that the entire journey was just a giant loop that leads right back to you. The ancient search began by looking outward at the fire and the sun, but its ultimate conclusion, its final knowledge, was the discovery of that exact same fire, that exact same sun, burning right in the center of your own being. And that truly is the end of knowledge.